Wrexham's captain, Ben Tozer, joins us now live on Drive to give us his thoughts. Hello, Ben. How are you?
Evening, Ben.
How are you doing, Andy? You all right?
We're good. We're very well. Listen, I don't know if you heard the show earlier on when we spoke about this breaking news, but both Jay and I said this is absolutely nuts and just a horrific decision from the FA. When did you, as the Wrexham captain, the rest of your players and the rest of your league find out that the FA had come up with this idea?
Well, we found out at the start of the week. There was the PFA basically sent out an email address asking for the opinion of the PFA's, basically asking for the PFA's opinion on the situation with the contracts. We didn't know what that situation was. Obviously, now we know that if you're injured for 12 weeks, the club will be entitled to put you on statutory pay. Now, if you're on, obviously, say £500 a week, that puts you down to £99 a week. And then they can also release you. So it kind of puts the player in no position of power whatsoever.
There is no protection here, Ben, at all for these players. I went through when I had to retire. I was in quite a big dispute with Portsmouth at the time, and I've been injured a while. And they tried to force me into retirement earlier than I wanted to because I still wanted to have my career. It says here that players could have contracts terminated within 3 months, with 3 months' notice, if they were out long-term injuries. Can you expand on that, or is these the technicalities you don't quite know? I mean, what is a long-term injury, for example? How long's that?
How does that get determined? I mean, does that get determined by the club, the player? Because as you well know, relationships between players and clubs can sometimes be
absolutely
fractured.
Yeah. If you've got a long-term injury, you become obsolete to that club. They will try and get you off the wage bill as quick as they can. They won't care about you, won't care about your family.
Exactly. And I mean, you put your body on the line for the club week in, week out. You don't expect them to then release you or put you on statutory pay 12 weeks after that happens. So and I mean, if you think about the technicalities of it, you've got an unstable profession contract anyway. I mean, I couldn't imagine trying to apply for a mortgage with this contract in place, basically a 3-month contract, because you're 3 months away from getting released or put onto £99 a week. So that in itself seems bonkers.
It does.
It's disgusting. I understand that in the last, I think, hour, I'm not quite sure the time frame, but irrelevant of that, it's most important that you guys have done it. You and the rest of the captains in the National League have put together a letter to Mark Bullingham from the FA and Mark Ives from the National League. It's a joint statement, a joint letter, just saying how shocked and frustrated you are at the significant contract proposals. When did that get sent out, and have you got any word back from either Mark or the other Mark?
So there's been nothing back yet. It's been sent. So there was a WhatsApp group set up at the start of the week by Josh Staunton at Yeovil Town with all the captains in the league, and we've all come up with what we think is a good letter to send to them. Basically, just want to have a conversation and a bit of dialogue with the FA and see what the thinking is behind this, and if it can be resulted and if it can be corrected and basically squashed.
I would imagine it's down to the club's discretion in the end, right? If the club have seen what the FA are proposing and they think it's absolute nonsense and they want to back their squad and their players, etc., the club can come out and say, well, irrelevant of what the FA is suggesting, we're going to continue as normal. Have your club, Wrexham, or any club for that matter in the league, come out and said anything?
So no one's. I think Macclesfield have come out and said it, but I spoke to the CEO at our club, Sean Harvey, and he said it's not something that the club would want to put in front of a player anyway, and it's not something they would adhere to. So there have been other lads in the group chat saying the same thing from their owners. So that's positive, but we don't think it should be a question, really. It shouldn't even be an option. When a player comes to sign for a club, for them to then go and tick a box at the bottom of it and say they're happy for them to put this in place, it seems a bit unfair.
Ben, are you guys members of the PFA? Even though you're not.
So, yeah,
you are
myself.
Members.
I am. I'm fortunate that I am, because I've been in the Football League for X amount.
But the clubs in this position, not all of them, and not all the players will be. Is that correct?
We're not represented by the PFA.
Who is your union then?
So we don't have a union. There's no one backing us up. Basically, we're chatting to there's been a letter gone into the National League and the FA. So the PFA have basically said it's not something they would ever do, they would ever advise. So
and they can't get involved, Ben. They
No,
they simply can't get involved because it's
no, they can't do anything
well,
about it.
I mean that just goes to show why the PFA is there. You know, you need a union. You need someone, battling and fighting for your rights, because this, where does it leave players? I mean, can you imagine having a mortgage, £99 a week?
It's disgusting. Ben, so if you've got no union, has there been talk of players striking or not?
No, I don't think. Well, hopefully it doesn't even have to come to that. That should hopefully not even become a question. But listen, it's hopefully something that can be resolved without that having to happen. And let's hope that they see sense and whatever. To be honest with you, when I read the email, I had to check to see if it was April the 1st, because I thought, wow, I've never seen anything like it.
I don't even know if legally, I mean, we're going down a completely different road here. I don't even know if legally, once a contract is signed, someone can come along and say, actually, we're going to make changes to that contract. Even though, like, if you've got a 4-year deal, can they just go, actually, we've decided that if you are injured after 3 months, it's going to be £99 a week if you've signed a deal. I don't even know if legally they can do that.
I don't think so either. I mean, if you were to break your leg working in an office doing something for the office, I'm sure they would back you and they'd look after you and support you, rather than breaking your leg in a football match, representing that club and doing what you've got to do, putting your body on the line for that club, and for them to go, oh, actually, you're costing us a bit too much money. We can't look after you anymore. See you later.
And do you know what, Ben, as well? There will be football clubs that will manipulate this and use this to get certain players out of the club that they see surplus to requirements. If there might be a player that's out of favour, hasn't played for 3 months, the new manager comes in, doesn't want him. There might be a way that if he gets injured, they could force this through, put him under real pressure. This is. Go on, mate.
As I said, football, and the way that football works, and politics sometimes play a massive part, and hopefully no one ever wants to see a player put in that situation, and it shouldn't be.
It is absolutely disgusting. The FA, whoever's come up with this, should be utterly ashamed of themselves. It really is disgusting.
The clubs now, they've got a big
decision to make.
It's interesting how they all behave, what they do, and you'll find out a little bit. And I'm guessing, Ben, because there'll be some clubs that, like you said, there's Macclesfield, I think you said, they will then become a bigger, more attractive club to play for because of this. So they say, forget that, we are not adhering to that, we're going to have our own rules, you will get paid, injured or not.
Yeah, I mean, people sign contracts sometimes in a strong position because the club really want them in the summer. Yeah. But you'll have people and players that are scrambling for a club and they're desperate to sign for a club. And if that gets put in front of them, they might have no option but to sign that and tick that box. I mean, hopefully it doesn't happen, but that could be an option. If the FA aren't prepared to back down on this, and I strongly suggest and hope that they do, but if they don't, do you expect or do you hope the Premier League and the Football League to get involved and back you? It's a tough one, isn't it? Because surely they know what the right thing is and what the wrong thing is. So you'd like to think that they say, look, FA, this is out of order. I mean, I don't even think it would be a sustainable concept for them in the first place. So you'd like to think there'd be enough noise and backed enough to squash it.
Yeah.
Well, look, good luck, Ben. It's a precarious situation. You find yourselves in. I hope that they come to their senses. All these clubs have. I said earlier in the show, Ben. All clubs go in with a budget. They have their budget. They can afford to. You would have thought. I know football's been through with COVID and in particular non-league. I understand all of that. But if you want the club to move together as one, this will drive a wedge between player and club, and that is unhealthy.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you haven't even talked about the mental implications that it could have. When you get injured, say you break your leg, you go in a bit of a dark place, and then for them to say you're going to go on to £99 a week, or actually no, now you're going to be released. Can you imagine what that would do to a lot of people's mental health?
And also on that side of things, if you're a player playing for a club and you're injury free, and this is what the club are backing, and you're thinking, this is absolutely terrible for my employers, you're not going to walk onto that pitch and try and give a hug. We're not. Subconsciously, you're probably not going to give 100%, thinking, why should I put my life on the line for this club when they're not prepared to back me? It's got so many different connotations to it. It's frightening to see where this one will go. Listen, before we let you go, Ben, we hope the FA come to their senses. It's such a ridiculous thing that they've come up with. It's quite disgusting. So we hope that this gets sorted sooner rather than later. But let's try and end on a positive note, shall we? Because yesterday we had Ben Foster on our show, who of course is your new goalkeeper. When did you find out about that?
Yesterday morning. He walked in the changing room, said hello, and listen, he seems like a great lad, and he's fully focused on what we want to achieve. So it's great to have him.
Yeah. Did he have a camera under his arm? Was he filming it for his YouTube channel?
Well, to be honest with you, we have a lot of cameras around the place because of the documentary on Disney Plus. It's nothing unusual, but yeah, it was a bit more intense yesterday.
It's interesting actually. You mentioned your owners because, of course, your favourites to go up, and then this rule won't come into effect if you do make it out of the league for next season. Have your owners, Ryan Reynolds and Rob, and surname I can't ever pronounce, have they made a comment internally to the club, to the players, about what the FA have come up with?
No, I'll be honest with you, because I've spoken to Sean Harvey, the CEO. I mean, hopefully it doesn't have to go as far as Rob and Ryan. And listen, this is not the right thing to do. So hopefully the FA can see sense and realise that it's not the right thing to do. And it doesn't even get to the situation where the owners have to make a decision.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.